आज इस बातचीत को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमारे बीच विश्व शिक्षक संघ के अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर के महंती हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं। मैं उन्हें सादर आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वे प्रोफेसर परमानंद सिंह मदन जी के बारे में भी और शिक्षक संघर्ष के बारे में भी वे अपनी बातें रखेंगे, प्रकाश डालेंगे। प्रोफेसर के महंती जी।
मंच पर बैठे सम्मानित अतिथिगण, ये सभागार में बैठे हुए जाने मान प्रतिष्ठित पाटना का, बिहार का ज्ञानी जनगण, परिवार का, मदन जी का परिवार का संपर्क उधर बैठे हैं। सो वर्ल्ड फेडरेशन ऑफ टीचर्स यूनियन का तरफ से, देन जॉइंट फोरम फॉर मूवमेंट एंड एजुकेशन का कन्वेनर नाते, एट द वेरी आउटसेट आई एक्सटेंड माई डीप रेस्पेक्ट and heartfelt gratitude to a person who has given me the strength to speak before you, to hold the mic and to speak in a manner in the general interest of the country and in the interest of the world. Such a great personality. I am immensely delighted to know that AI Facto, FUTAB and FACTNAV combinedly organizing this memorial discussion today. It is a rare gesture. A man who has sacrificed his entire life, इसका जीवन है एक संघर्षमय जीवन है। खुद राजनीति में शीर्ष के चढ़ने के लिए नहीं है, समाज का परिवर्तन के लिए है, शिक्षा व्यवस्था का परिवर्तन के लिए है। जो कुर्बानी कर दिया है बिहार का धरनी पर, पाटना का हिस्टोरिकल सिटी पर, फ्रीडम मूवमेंट का सिटाडेल पर आप आज इसके रिमेंबर कर रहा है। इट इज़ नॉट ए जेस्चर टू हिज ग्रेटनेस, इट इज़ ए ट्रिब्यूट। द सिंपल जेस्चर इज ए जेन्युइन एक्सप्रेशन of a grateful academic fraternity of Bihar and entire country, and as a representative of the World Federation with which he was also associated, we definitely pay our respect for his sacrifice while he made a decent and dignified living beside pioneering an era of transformative and inclusive politics. उसका राजनीति डिफरेंट टाइप का है, क्षमता का उपभोग का राजनीति नहीं है, इसका राजनीति है इंक्लूसिव पॉलिटिक्स से। आई एम ऑल्सो ग्रेटफुल टू द जनरल सेक्रेटरी ऑफ IFOCTO, प्रोफेसर अरुण कुमार, हु इज ए गिफ्टेड जीनियस ऑफ बिहार, break all the records of the IFOCTO, 6th time being elected as the general secretary of IFOCTO, leading the entire country. It is a pleasure and pride for all of us that he has taken the pain with all the teachers here to bring to us a hero who is the need of the hour. Ages pass, but culture remains. Generation of men live and die, but their work survives. It is the throbbing pulsation of creativeness, Srujanshilata, that is inherent in a man that makes him immortal and liberates him from the cycle of life and death. Parman Singh, he is not dead now, he is living us, he is with us. When he sees him, I become emotional. Emotion overpower me. My voice is choked because I have many personal acquaintance with him. It is make him immortal, liberates him from cycle of life and death. He is immortal man. He is a historical man. एक ऐतिहासिक व्यक्तित्व है, कालजयी व्यक्तित्व है. That man becomes also a darling of history. Everybody, they never occupies a place in history. That man becomes a darling of history. His creativeness becomes a beacon light for inspiring for the posterity. Professor Persident Madan is such a personality. His ideas, ideology, unflinching social commitment, committed Marxist outlook, and above all a humanitarian inclusive approach not only made him a mere veteran teacher leader, he is not only a teacher leader, he is elevated to status as a fiery champion of crusader against all exploitation, domination and discrimination. All pakshapata, all every discrimination, he fought stood like a rock, a very fiery crusader. Professor Madan's quality and greatness were never an accident of history. As a Marxist, committed to the Marxist philosophy, I believe that the man is brought because of his environment. Consciousness of man determines his existence. We find that Madan's quality and greatness has been the result of good intention, sincere efforts, and intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. When Professor Madan started his career as a student leader, teacher leader, he has many ideology before him. He chose the best alternative, committed to the Marxist philosophy. Professor Parvansi Madan was the architect of teachers in Bihar, not only in Bihar, and the entire nation, also in the world sphere. Spokesperson of marginalized section of the society on the floor of the Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad of Bihar. A historian committed to scientific and objective methodology of history. Itihas, history is not a story told by the grandmother. History is a scientific, objective, rational. History deals with sources. As a historian, he is a par excellence and the need of the hour. Professor Parvansi Madan was a great visionary, but not a utopian dreamer. हम देखते हैं इंटेलेक्चुअल को, देखते हैं सारा भारत में, देखते हैं सारा विश्व में, देखते हैं इंटेलेक्चुअल क्या करते हैं. ड्रेसिंग रूम इंटेलेक्चुअल, आई कैरेक्टराइज ड्रेसिंग रूम इंटेलेक्चुअल, टीवी इंटेलेक्चुअल, cafe intellectual, but he is not like that intellectual. He is not only a utopian dreamer, he was leader of masses and ardent advocate of people's struggle to translate his dreams, hopes, and aspirations of common man who suffers the lowest ladder of social sacrifice. He stood for also communal harmony and deeply passionate towards recognizing and espousing the cause of multicultural, multi-religious, and multilingual identity of nation. I had an opportunity of hearing his speech in Odisha. Odisha and Bihar, we are very close friends. Academically, culturally, organizationally, we are united. Odisha was a part of the Bihar province. I have seen a speech in Odisha, a speech organized on the question of teacher against communalism. I am simply overwhelmed. I have simply got many knowledge, young teacher at that time, how he stood for the communal harmony, recognizing the identity of the nation, diversity of nation. I do not want to speak much about of his life history. Life history, my purpose is here. We have seen how we have seen when he died also. In Bihar, in the country, entire country mourned his death. He was not only a leader of Bihar or Patna or India, entire country and the World Federation of Teachers Union has also passed a resolution again for his Bihar's leadership, including the Communist Party of India, of which he was a part and parcel, paid a rich tribute to Professor Parvansi, characterizing what they have characterized from newspaper cuttings, mass leader, a जनगण का नेता है, ये बुद्धिजीवी का नेता नहीं है, शिक्षक केवल नेता नहीं है, ये जनगण का नेता है, people's leader, blessed with organizational skill. All political parties, including the chief minister, present chief minister, former chief minister, they have characterized him as a blessed with organized skill. असंभव संगठन दक्षता है, appreciating his contribution to Bihar development and social awakening, and popular leader, while leaders respected him by across party lines due to his nature. His nature is simplicity. His nature is very tolerant. He accepts others, but he stood firm in his own commitment. So he has no personal enmity with any political party in the state. He is very broad, liberal, but stood firm on his question of own commitment. His progressive left orientation, why he became a left, why he accepted communism. I am a student of history. I have found that his progressive left orientation was not an accident of history. इतिहास का दुर्घटना नहीं है. ये क्या है? His tender and youthful period saw the struggle against British imperialism. Contemporary international national scenario such as euphoria of Indian independence. He was born and brought up in the euphoria that came out of India in 1947 independence. He has seen how people of India danced, dined. कितना आनंद हुआ है जब ब्रिटिश साम्राज्यवाद को हम तोड़ दिया, ये देखा है. पीपुल का रिएक्शन ही देखा है. He has seen the demolition of fascism, नाजीज्म, साम्राज्यवाद, ये सब डाउन हो गया सारा भारत में, ये देखा है. एशिया नेशनलिज्म का राइज देखा है, अफ्रो एशियन राइज देखा है, ये और देखा है क्या है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्ट्रेंथ देखा है. At the same time, he has seen how World Federation of Trade Unions started in all India level, 1946, and World Federation of Teachers Union, of which he was a part, he has seen. So, we have seen all these things impacted on his ideological fashioning, and he became a committed adherent of Marxist philosophy and plunged into political activity of the Communist Party of India. Professor Madan possesses a multi-dimensional personality, as I have already एक विविध व्यक्तित्व है, एकीकृत व्यक्तित्व नहीं है, विविध व्यक्तित्व है. His creativity and contribution manifested in his role as a front-ranking teacher leader, crusader against all forms of injustice, effective classroom teacher, very fiery classroom teacher. I have discussed him hours together in Bhubaneswar Mahasangha office, Teacher Federation office. I am a student of history, he is also a student of history. I do not dare to talk about him. You have given him the opportunity to speak. He is just like my teacher. I am disciple of Professor Madan. He, against all forms of injustice, effective classroom teacher, objective and scientific historian, successful legislature in the Bihar Assembly and Vidhan Parishad, and above all, the symbol of struggle to achieve the desired objective of socio-economic transformation with the Marxist philosophy. Marxist philosophy का लाइन में कैसे समाज का परिवर्तन होगा. His contribution in the organizational, he is a front-ranking leader, everybody knows. His field of educational reform, founder of Federation of University Teachers of Bihar, and its General Secretary from 1967 to 1996, providing also a large role of Bihar teacher movement as an affiliate of All India Federation of University and College Organization, as its National Secretary, Vice President, and also he believes in only college and university teacher. समाज के में परिवर्तन नहीं आ सकते हैं. It requires a joint struggle. The concept of joint struggle. शिक्षक स्कूल से लेकर KG to लेकर PG तक, school teachers, teaching community allied with peasants, workers, joint movement of the teachers. He brought a sea change in the educational scenario of Bihar as well as status of service condition. Through his dynamic leadership and organizational acumen, university and college teachers of Bihar received grant in aid from the government. Then grant in aid was not enough. Liberated from tyranny of the governing body and got the coveted status of constituent college. We all are here with respect to status, dignified status, service condition, pension. It is also the sacrifice of P S Madan as an organizational leader. He organized every people. Then we have seen by his leadership, Bihar university and college teachers got UGC scales of pay, linked promotion, pension, and a dignified and decent living. Also played a major role in IPOCTO movement. I have seen in 1986 teachers movement. When he was the national secretary, from 1988, I was the zonal secretary. I was the vice president of the All India Federation, and he was also with me as the national secretary. We have seen in the 1986 bitter struggle for UGC revision, how trouble started in Delhi we have seen, but Parman Singh Madan, Comrade Munma Bhattacharya, Professor Abani Boral, the founding pillar of IPOCTO, they stood like rock and they brought miracle in the teachers movement. Then we say Professor Parman Singh Madan played a significant role in Bihar teachers and student movement, advocating better working conditions, salaries and related benefits. He was also a prominent leader in the Kisan Seva movement, aiming to address the agrarian issues of peasants and the rights. He encouraged students to participate in social and political movement, emphasizing the education role in societal transformation. Madan also fought for marginalized community rights, promoting equality and justice in education. The 1967 movement is a landmark in the history of Bihar. We saw There was disruption in education. Education in Bihar was in chaos. Post-independence Bihar, education, Bihar had a very glorious history of education. As a student of history, I know how Bihar had a glorious history. But post-independence education was in a difficult and disturbing situation. He found chaos, left order, inherited mutiny, created discipline, and he brought a very powerful educational system. Then we have seen, I do not want to talk about the legislature, the members of the Legislative Assembly, members of Vidhan Parishad. I am grateful that in this Vidhan Parishad he was there, and we are celebrating his role here. So his role as a teacher of nation indisputable. He believes in collective leadership. He never believes in dictatorial attitude. Ek Chhatrabadi nahi hai. In the executive, I have seen how he behaves, how he argues with others, but ultimately he stood by the consensus of the house. Then I am a student of history. इतिहास का छात्र हम हैं. You know how history is in crisis now. History today is in deep crisis. Today in our country, study of history and historical research has been sandwiched by corporate and fundamentalist forces. A corporate forces, a fundamentalist forces. One treating the history as a sunset subject. इतिहास पढ़ाना नहीं चाहिए. इतिहास एक सूर्यास्त सब्जेक्ट है. History has no relevance in this market-oriented world. Professor Parman Singh stood by his philosophy, objective character of history. He was a notable historian. He was a member, founder of the Bihar Itihas Parishad, Bihar History Congress. He was the founder, secretary of the Bihar History Congress. He was also a member of the Indian History Congress. I have seen him in the Gaya Congress here. Long back in Gaya Congress, how he played the role in the organization. I have seen him Bombay Congress of 1980. I have seen him how Persident FISE Madan. You are not only a political leader, you are a powerful academician of the country, rare academician country. And what was his philosophy of history? How it is relevant today, you see. We have seen the academic bodies, the Itihas Darshan. I have gone through an unedited document, Itihas Darshan by Professor Madan. It is a comprehensive work that explores the philosophy of history, aiming to provide readers with deeper understanding of the subject. This work covers various aspects of history, including its dimension, the role of historian and historical theory. It emphasizes the importance of history in understanding human society. History is not a story told by the grandmother. History is not the reflection of romantic episode of kings and emperors. History is the people's history and how it serves as a bridge between the past and the present. Professor Madan argues that history is not just a collection of events, but a way to understand the complexity of human civilization. He also discusses the impact of Western thought on historical thinking and highlights the need for a more objective approach to understand the India's past. No prejudiced approach, no fundamentalist approach, no communal approach, a very objective approach of past history. Madan encourages the reader to think critically about the nature of history and its significance in shaping our understanding of the world. He discusses the challenges. He very frankly admit, objectivity बोलना अच्छा है, सत्यनिष्ठता बोल देना तो अच्छा है, बोल देना सरल है, लेकिन how to practice objective, he says, objective is a complex and challenging goal. He argues that historian biases, perspectives and cultural context influence their interpretation, making complete objectivity very difficult to achieve. He admits as a historian, as a rightful historian, rational historian, he admits that objectivity is very difficult to achieve. He emphasizes how it can be overpowered. He also provides an alternative. He says the importance of acknowledging the limitation and striving for a balanced approach. Multiple views. We have to discuss multiple views. In history, we have imperialist writing, we have communal writing, we have secular writing, we have Marxist writing. We should have a balanced approach of that. He is not only a philosopher so far history. He fights when history is challenged. The objectivity of history is challenged. He stood like a rock. We have seen at Times of India Patna edition on 25th November 2001 published a news item. What is the news item? It has been reported that the recent decision of NCRT to delete a number of passages from his core history book has shocked historian here in Patna in Bihar. Historian under the leadership of Madan Singh का नेतृत्व में how revolt किया है. You are not. I have already pointed out. ये theoretician नहीं है, only theoretician नहीं है. He is a practical man. He was not only a gospel making person, preaching personality, he also practices. Whenever in 2001, the attack on a textbook were Ancient India, class 6 by Rumila Thapar, Ancient India, class 11 by R.S. Sharma, Medieval India, class 11 by Satish Chandra, and Modern India by Arjun Dev. Historian Bihar, Vijay Thakur, Rajendra Prasad Singh, O.P. Jaiswal, and P S Madan has condemned this deletion. You see in 2001 to condemn this decision. I again cite instances. In 1980, Professor Madan was in Bhubaneswar. In 1977, 4 books were banned by the then Janata Dal government, written by R.S. Gopal and many others. There was also a deletion from the history textbook. He firmly argued that this deletion was also bad. What they have demanded? They have demanded the withdrawal of deletion and sought its replacement by what? Truly national curriculum. करिकुलम कैसे बनाना है, इतिहास का करिकुलम कैसे होता है, कैसे होना चाहिए, ये बताते हैं. ये सेड नेशनल करिकुलम रेस्पेक्टिंग द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. संविधान का ऊपर कोई नहीं है, इतिहासकार संविधान का ऊपर नहीं है. वी मे हैव राइटिस्ट व्यू, वी मे हैव लेफ्टिस्ट व्यू, वी मे हैव सेंट्रिस्ट व्यू, बट आवर फंडामेंटल बाइबल इज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. संविधान हमारा बाइबल है, संविधान हमारा मूल मंत्र है. एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ not only the wise knowledge of B.R. Ambedkar or political leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru. They represented the voice of India from 2000 years. From the days of Indus Valley till 1947, they have studied the passage of history. How history has become a process of protest and domination. आधिपत्य और प्रतिवाद का संघर्ष इतिहास. इसी के बाद हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रिपेयर किया. He said that national curriculum respect the constitution, National Education Policy of 1968, and due process of validation. This shows Professor Madan's unwavering commitment to scientific and objectivity in historical writing. He never deviated. He stood firm in his objective that history cannot be a bias, history should be objective. This shows today's distortion of history, deletion of medieval period, and other rewriting with bias inspires as compared. He also given a call at that time, the save history and save nation. IFOCTO has taken the call also, save history and save nation. Unless history is saved from the aggression of different diverse forces, India cannot be properly presented. I have great admiration and due respect for Professor Madan. I met him first in the office of All Odisha Teachers Federation with Professor Avani Baral around 1980 in the company of veteran teacher leader. He frequently came to Odisha. He is our family member. Odisha teachers very well known with Professor Madan. He frequently had been to Odisha. Then he frequently came to Odisha, interactive with us regional, national, and international issues, including the danger of biased writing of history. I have been overwhelmingly and deeply impressed and influenced by the multidimensional creative personality. On 31st October 1984, Professor Madan also addressed a mammoth gathering of Odisha teachers, along with Jagannath Sarkar and Professor Munnoy Bhattacharya, who were fighting against the negative educational policy of government. In 1989, we are in a same van. Professor Munnoy Bhattacharya, Professor P S Madan, Professor Baral and myself all in a van. Police took away when we protested for the implementation of UGC policy. In various forums such as IFOCTO, Indian History Congress, FISE, and program of NCCITOC, not only Bihar में इसका role था joint movement में. You must be hearing now joint forum for movement of education is there. We have formed under the leadership of Comrade Arun Kumar, joint forum for movement on education, fighting against arbitrary, negative, retrograde, unscientific national education policy. This is the NCCITO, National Coordination of Committee of Indian Teacher Nation, under the leadership of Professor Baral, Professor P S Madan, Professor Munnoy Bhattacharya. Take there a big rally in Delhi. We burned the hospital and other institution bill. That was negative bill leading to the privatization. So we had close interaction with him and inspired by his intellectual acumen and organized capacity. Professor P S Madan was very cordial and close relations with teachers, leaders. So I feel privileged. You have called as disciple of Professor Madan to speak about my teacher. I may be passionate, I may be prejudicial, but I still follow his assessment of his personality, his theory of objectivity. On 29th March 2016, 26, we are closing the speech, other will speak. We all are meeting in Patna to remember our veteran teacher leader, Prof. P S Madan, who throughout his long life stood for certain ideas in the larger interest state and nation. He not only dived deep into the social trouble, agitation, all great persons, whether Comrade Arun Kumar or Comrade Arun Singh is many teacher leaders are there. They bitterly neglect their families. If Professor Madan is great, we must also acknowledge our gratitude to the family members, their daughters, their son, their wives. They have contributed a lot because they do not look the family. They have no personal agenda to enrich their family, to make their family increase. They dive deep into the social arena and work for them, neglecting the entire family. So Professor Madan also, following the historical truth, he is also the product of sacrifice of the family, and I am extremely grateful that family members are here. They are trying to remember the deal of the father. We are now passing through a troubling point. What is the message today? What Professor Madan has taught us? Education is not only for intellectual expression, not an intellectual bombastic. Who is the intellectual? Who sees the nation? What we have learned from me. हम उससे क्या किसने सीखा है? हम सीखा है, हम इतिहास का अध्यापक है, श्रेणी क्लासरूम का अध्यापक नहीं है. हम सोसाइटी के बारे में बोलेंगे, हम राज्य के बारे में बोलेंगे, देश के बारे में बोलेंगे. So we are now passing through a troubling international situation. You must have seen the madness of Trump, American President Trump, how he destroys all norms internationally. International situation is in trouble. Then the higher educational ideal which Professor Madan through host of reputed teacher leader have created, we have built a democratic, scientific, secular and inclusive education system. Education is not a privilege of few. Education should not be a subject to market forces. Education should be given to all. And you now see National Education Policy of 2026. Jatiya Shiksha Niti 2020. You have seen the UGC Equity Regulation 2026 has come. 2026 में UGC Equity Regulation, that is now under the decision of Supreme Court. That also dilutes the procedure. There is also, I am just coming from Bhubaneswar, I am going through another regulation of UGC. The appointment of teachers in the university. Priority reservation was confined to a department. Now it is entire university-wise. So there is an attempt to dilute the basic social norm of reservation. Bharat Shiksha Adhisthana Bill 2025, where we find states should have no role. The bill is under discussion in the Joint Parliamentary Committee. The entire edifice created by this leader, sacrifice of the leader, sacrifice of 1,000 teacher leader, that now stands discredited. And we find in curriculum, there is inclusive education system in particular, corporate communal nexus, erosion of credibility of the constitutionally erected institution, mistrust in the electoral process, superimposition of cultural nationalism over time-tested democratic nationalism. Time-tested democratic nationalism, there is the imposition of cultural nationalism and the emergence of trend of electoral autocracy, threat to right to speech and academic autonomy and systematic attempt to rewrite history on a preconceived ideological mindset had put our nation in the crossroad. So we are extremely happy that IPOCTO has taken the lead. That in a very critical moment of nation's history, where India is in a crossroad, where to go, where we revert back, संविधानिक मूल भित्ति पर जाएंगे, एक नया संविधान तरीका में हम जाएंगे. ये क्राइसिस है. In this crisis, who shows the way? Who shows the way? Entire India is in darkness. The ideas and ideals of Professor Madan has fought throughout life, now a great danger. The greatest tribute to him will be to carry on his ideals and spirit to struggle to save constitution, save education, save campus and save nation. It is no charity to Professor Madan. It is no charity to the founding fathers of IPOCTO. It is not charity to sacrifice 1,000 leaders throughout the country sacrificed for a democratic education. It is a commitment for all that I am confident that the deliberation declaration of Patna is a very revolutionary place, historical place, citadel of freedom movement we have seen. a ground of social justice, social equilibrium. Patna will not only be confined to remember Madan, but will be strengthened the democratic and progressive forces of the country. They are making a ground fertile for united struggle through a vibrant organization. He is a very splendid synthesis of Ambedkar and Marx. Ambedkar said, organize, educate, organize and agitate. He believed in education, he believed in organization, he believed in agitation. So, friends, the present challenges can only be responded through struggle and powerful nation with wide democratic movements to defeat the forces of cultural nationalism and strengthen democratic nationalism. Best tribute, teachers and teacher nation from KG to PG in the state and national level have to take up the challenge and perform their historical responsibility. IPOCTO has taken the historical responsibility. I will conclude with the comments of Edmund Burke. Edmund Burke has said, state is not a partnership, state is a partnership between those who are past, those who are present, those who will come in future. So it is a partnership. Madanji has left a legacy, very powerful legacy. Then Arunji and many leaders, they are carrying out the legacy for the future of the country. We know not only entire India, Bihar also is in a troubling situation so far as educational development is concerned. The concept of constitution, new affiliated colleges have come, new non-grant colleges have started, commercialization started, NEP will come. So Bihar also facing a serious crisis so far as educational development for the downtrodden, marginalized section is concerned. And we think we have to shoulder our historical responsibility. That will be the lasting tribute to the personality, ideals and ideology of P.S. Madan. Finally, I will say, the IPOCTO has taken a very good lead. After so many years, they have taken a lead. They have brought Parman Singh Madan from the graveyard with ideas and ideology. That idea and ideology should be spreaded through the nook and corner of India to the nook and corner of world, so that we can preserve constitution, we can preserve an inclusive education, and in the heaven he will be happy that he has left many fiery crusader, teacher, disciple. Our best tribute to our teacher will be to continue our fight to save constitution, save nation, save education, save campus. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to hear something from me. May hurt somebody, may please somebody, but it is a voice of the teaching community spirit that comes from P.S. Madan. Thank you.
धन्यवाद। अभी हम विश्व शिक्षक संघ के अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर ए के महंती जी को सुन रहे थे, उनके ओजस्वी भाषण को, कि जो केवल प्रोफेसर परमानंद सिंह मदन के व्यक्तित्व पर ही नहीं, उनके कृतित्व और दृष्टिकोण और आज की आवश्यकताओं की भी बात कर रहे थे, परिस्थितियों को भी उघाड़ रहे थे। धन्यवाद।